Hello, buddy. All right. So Tuesday, March the 19th. So hopefully, I hope everybody's having a good week thus far. Welcome to the Mikestand. First off, of course, if you haven't already, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated as always. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and we will try to, and I will, of course, try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So we're just going to, of course, wait a few minutes, give people a chance to pop in, and before we get started, I will, of course, but in a few minutes here, I'll probably will go ahead and talk about what's on tap for tonight, and the latest, of course, of all things niche. Then we're just gonna wait give it a couple minutes before let people a chance to come in. Of course, as we got a couple articles we'll go over tonight. Also, of course, we'll have we will have the wrestling. Oh, hey, Wayne's here. Wayne's World Party Time. Hi, Mike. Only have a sec to say hi and rock on. All right. Well, if you can like and share the stream too, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, Wayne, that'd be appreciated. Also, if you do happen to keep it on to like listen in and stuff, if anything here I talk about grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, anyways, as we of course now, okay, so we're almost at 3 minutes now, so I guess I will talk about what's on tap for tonight. So, as I said, we've got a couple of articles we're going to go over from bounding into comics. First one is going to talk about the creators of the creators of the original series X-Men, the animated series. They're actually defending the decision to make Morph non-binary, claiming the word non-binary is the same as the word shapeshifter. Also, I think what they're going to try to argue here is how they utilize the term gender fluid. So, and then in the other article, we're going to talk about Dynamic Comics revives Space Ghost for a brand new serious run. So, apparently, I guess Dynamite Comics, off the heels of the successful Thundercats comic they recently launched, they're going to do one for Space Ghost as well. I guess they're continuing the idea of taking some of the licensed properties from Cartoon Network and making comic series out of them. So those are the two main stories we're gonna look at tonight. As I said, also we'll have the wrestling wrap up, as well as this day in each history towards the end. Let's see. So we got a few more seconds before, probably about the 5 minute mark. We'll probably start things up. So as I said, again, another friendly reminder that if you guys can, if first off, if you haven't already, you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything we talk about grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, just let me check one more thing here real quick, and then we will probably go ahead and get started here. Alrighty then. All right, so let's get things underway then. Now that we're past the 5 minute mark, why don't we go ahead and get started with the articles then that I picked out for tonight? One's, of course, revolving around a cartoon, the other's revolving around comics. So, anyways, let's get into this. All right, so X-Men, the animated series creators, defend decision to make Morph non-binary in X-Men '97. In their quotes here, the word non-binary is the same as the word shapeshifter. So that's what they're going to try to argue here. So let's see. Um, all right. So according to the creators of both X-Men the animated series and the character himself, the decision to portray team member Morph as a quote unquote non-binary individual in the upcoming X-Men '97 sequel series is not that radical change critics claim it is, but rather a logical conclusion based on the character's shape-shifting powers. We know they've made this argument before too, and we've even made this argument on this channel that and we've even talked about, of course, another shapeshifter and Mystique as well, right? But even in those cases, now Morph is a character they actually created for the series, even though Morph was more or less based off of a character called Changeling, right? So that much we knew, and then so you could almost argue that with any character that has shape shifting abilities, that they might be considered non-binary, or I think one of the other terms they basically like to use is gender fluid, which means that they kind of go back and forth between the genders. They might today identify so they may be, like, for example, they may be biologically a woman, but today they're going to identify as a man, and then tomorrow they'll identify as a woman, and then maybe the next day they'll identify as a hermaphrodite. It's like, so you know that's kind of the thing with that. But anyways, continuing on with the article here. This read of Morph's character was offered by X-Men animated series creator Eric Lewald, his wife and writer Julia Lewald, and director Larry Houston, all three of whom returned to provide their creative input to the reboot. During a recent interview given to Variety in promotion of X-Men '97's rapidly approaching release date. Now, granted, even though they could change shift into, because they could at a cellular level, change their shape and gender and all that to whatever form they both Morph and Identity still both Morph and Mystique, I'm sorry, identified as either one or the other. Morph as a male, as a man, um, Mystique as a woman. Um, Pressed for their thoughts on the backlash of this changing of Morph's character, in particular the facts that many critics felt that the move was done for nothing more than, in smaller quotes, social media brownie points, on smaller quote, the trio unanimously pushed back on the ground that the mutant's new gender identity was already inherent in his power set. Quote, for me, the word non binary, in smaller quotes, is the same as the word shapeshifter, smaller quotes, argued Houston. Quote, every character that can change from one gender to another and from human to animal, that's just another word for shapeshifter for me. My guess is I have to kind of press X and doubt for that, because I don't think they even thought about this back in the '90s. Okay, I don't really honestly. I think it is, as with a lot of people, I think it is more with, social media brownie points. Drawing attention to the fact that he disguises himself as various female X-Men during his turncoat return in the two-part episode. Yes, but as I recall, he still identified as a male. He didn't, just because he decided to change into like Jean Grey and it was just for the purpose. It wasn't like he all of a sudden, he wasn't like doing the whole Shania Twain bit and going, "Ooh, I feel like a woman." Okay, so I don't think that was going on there. And it's funny because if everybody was supposedly on board with this idea, then why isn't Ron Rubin back voicing the role of Morph then? Quote, "Till death do us part," um, Eric Lewald asserted, quote, "He attacks Wolverine, his closest friend, in the most dramatic way by turning into Jean Grey and putting his hand on Wolverine's neck and leaning in for a kiss. That's as non-binary as you can get," unquote. In ancient Greece, the youngest child was usually sent off to the theater to, to do, to become an actor. Now back then, of course, and you also have, I think, the no theaters in Japan where you do, in both cases, you have male characters, playing female roles. Does that mean that they actually are a woman? Or are they just playing a role? You know, they may just simply be playing a role, and that's what Morph did in the episode you're talking about. Quote, "It's Morph turning into a woman and coming onto a Wolverine to freak him out," continued the original series creator of his hilariously so progressive it's regressive argument. Yeah, and I'd have to agree that it's progressive, regressive kind of thing because, the whole idea there was he was not attracted to Wolverine himself. He was playing the part of a woman to get under Wolverine's skin. It's kind of similar to like what Dustin Rhodes did when when they had him portraying Goldust in the WWE early on. You know, um, all right. So, anyways, quote, "It was all there in Morph's character." No, it was. I don't. I would have again. I'd have to say, I don't think that was. Well, actually, it's kind of hard to say because again, we're talking about the people who actually created the character. Was this always their intent all along? Now, granted, let me. I just thought of this too. This is kind of a character that they kind of created, so maybe this was always the intended, ultimate goal for them. You know, but back 30 years ago, they couldn't, of course, just put it out there because of the times. Nobody would have put up with it. Nobody back even 30 years ago would have put up with all this, more than two genders baloney that we're seeing now. Even the hardcore Democrats of the time would not, hardcore liberals of the time would not have really put up with it. Okay. So, now it's become such a social thing that I think people will be more sensitive to how it's used. That's the only difference. We didn't see a problem in reading him and didn't feel he was any different. I think what most people would argue is that even though they created this character, they're just allowing this to take shape in this form for as some people say, social media brownie points. Because they didn't really do, they didn't really put, even when he did morph into one of the female characters, they never even, it was still morph on the inside. It was still a guy acting out a part, not full on, like, he wasn't identifying, when he did, when he did, like morph into Jean or morph into Storm or morph into any other characters, for that matter, even when Mystique is morphed into male characters, doesn't mean that they completely gave up the idea that they were their original gender, like in the case of Morph, a guy, and in the case of Mystique, a woman, a man and a woman, so voicing her take on the situation with a slightly more frustrated bent than her colleagues, Julia Lewald asserted, quote, "Did we teach you people nothing? Were you not watching? Did we not figure out how to be nice to each other and how to get along?" Unquote. Quote, "It's very odd to feel like we are still dealing with the same issues that we were dealing with 30 years. No, it's not. It's a different issue now. Now you're getting into gender identity politics. GIPs. She added, quote, "It's painful. No, it's stupid." As previously reported, Morph's new non-binary identity in X-Men 97 was first confirmed by series' now former showrunner and creator Bo DeMaio during a production interview given to Empire magazine for their April 2024 issue, providing brief teases into the approach the series took in writing each of the series' principal mutant castmates. When it came to Morph, the showrunner confirmed to the Empire, as recapped by the outlet's Helen O'Hara, that, quote, "This is a lighter take on the character who is non-binary and has an interesting buddy relationship with Wolverine." Yeah, and that's another thing that a lot of people got upset about, the idea of pushing a gay relationship in a children's cartoon. Now, some people argue that maybe they're going to try to make X-Men 97, more adult, or some people have even argued that they're trying to appeal to the original, fan base that was into the show, who are older now, and a lot of that older fan base is not having it. On that note, this week saw DeMaio unceremoniously tossed from from Disney. Okay, they added oven there, and I don't think makes much sense to have the word oven there, from Disney just days prior to the official premiere of X-Men 97. However, as of writing, the exact reason for his firing, or whether or not it had anything to do actually with his now confirmed OnlyFans account, remains unknown. Yeah, a lot of things are speculation. Disney did supposedly come out with a statement yesterday saying that, he was supposedly difficult to work with, but why did it take them this long then to toss him aside then? At current, X-Men 97 is set to start wreaking havoc on Disney Plus starting on March 20th, which will, of course, be tomorrow. Oh, there we go with that one. So, as I said, guys, as I said, of course, um, you know, I said, first off, if you guys haven't already, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people involved, in here to engage. That would be appreciated. And I said, if first off, if you guys haven't already, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and we'll try to answer the questions and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, with that being said, let's of course continue on here. We'll get ready to move on to the next story here. Let's see now. Oh, we're at 22 minutes. We're not doing too bad on time there. So let's see. So it looks like there were some more stories that may have been added after the fact. So and this is the other story we're going to cover tonight, of course. All right. So let's see. All right. So Dynamite Comics revives Space Ghost for a brand new series run in May. Article by J.B. Augustine published yesterday. I believe the X-Men article was also done yesterday, as I recall. So let's get into this. Following their surprise adaptations of Thundercats and the news of other licensed Warner Brothers Discovery IPs, Dynamite Comics blast off for an adventure into deep space starring a character more recognizable for its satirical late night show, Space Ghost. Now, for those of you who don't know, Space Ghost originally was created by Hanna-Barbera back in the late 60s. It was a superhero cartoon. He along with his sidekicks, Jen and Jason, and their space mom, Zip, would fight off nemesis I can't even remember their names now, but and then later on for a generation later, they would he'd have his own talk show. Anyways, from the team of David Prepose, Punisher, in parentheses Punisher, Jonathan Law, Vampirella Strikes. Dynamite's new series looks like it's taking an edgier turn than a Hanna-Barbera cartoon and befits its period. That befits its period and the studio's tongue-in-cheek style. Quote, greed and corruption flourish in the darkness between stars. Unquote, begins the official solicitation. Quote, with the territories of the Galactic Federation spread far and wide across the vastness of space, pirates and hijackers ransack the distant colonies with cruel disregard for the innocent scientists living within them. Unquote. Do 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 do. Yet there is a cosmic vigilante who metes out justice throughout the galaxy, bringing vengeance to those who prey upon the defenseless. Unquote. It continues. Quote, some say he is a policeman who has abandoned the structures of the law. Unquote. Quote, others say he is a phantom, the sole survivor of a war-torn planet. And those who have survived his wrath claim he is more force of nature, able to blend the very elements of creation to decimate its enemies. Unquote. So again, yeah, they're taking a more serious, more mature tone to the comic than the cartoon, obviously. So it says, reaching the dramatic crescendo, they call him the Space Ghost, and his adventures begin here. And there's a scene from of course, the '60s cartoon, 1966. Space Ghost and the gang in the intro to the 1966 series Hanna-Barbera. Methinks we have an origin story on our hands. Space Ghost has been given a few updated origins over the years, each with a serious tone, but the character is still hailed widely for caustic, at times humorous roots. Those were writer proposes initial education into the character, too, but he wants to reimagine him for the 21st century and show us all why the original Guardian of the Galaxy is, quote, the greatest superhero in the universe, unquote. Anyways, just checking to see what's going on. See, I hear noises outside my window, so anything's going on. But anyways, Dynamite is seemingly starting over as they have done in the past, routinely with Flash Gordon, the Shadow, Green Hornet, and lesser known pulps like the Spider and the Black Bat. However, they aren't wiping the slate completely clean, have always drawn from the deep well of a given property's lore. Space Ghost should be no different, as based on variant covers and unlettered pages, the icon will fly in his signature craft with kid sidekick Jan, Jace, and pet monkey Blip. Okay, Blip is the name of the pet monkey. In tow. Additionally, Tonsut, the pirate, and his legions will be around to wreak some havoc. They got Space Ghost on fire during his Coast to Coast show with, I think it's Conan O'Brien right there. Who else could be far behind? Zorak, Moltar, Brock, Warren the Plant? Find out when Space Ghost is back in comics starting May 1st from Dynamite. Oh, there we go with that one. So let's see where we're at on time here. We have some. All right, we have some. Oh no, Space Ghost is being updated. Yeah, that's what they apparently say. Dynamite Comics. Greetings. Mind you, Elk, this is a comic adaptation. This is not a new TV series. This is a comic adaptation. from Dynamite that Dynamite's doing. So just so you know, and again, guys, if you guys can like and share, if you haven't already, you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, um, feel free to comment and or ask questions. We'll try to answer, and I'll try to answer questions to the best of my ability. So we might have time to see if we can find one more short article before we start to wrap things up. See what else we might have here. All right, let's see. All right, well here's a bit of a news item. Let's see. I think I was seeing this headline kind of running around earlier as well here. Original G.I. Joe animated series creator and Transformers the movie writer Ron Friedman launches emergency GoFundMe to pay for cancer treatments, living expenses. Article by Spencer McCauley, published March 19th, 2024. All right, so in another unfortunate reminder of just how little Hollywood cares for the creatives upon which their industry is actually built, the unforeseen rise in medical and living expenses for both him and his wife has led storied television and film writer Ron Friedman has found himself turning to crowdfunding in order to help alleviate some of their financial pain. As a scene, of course, from G.I. Joe. Perhaps best known for having created the original G.I. Joe the animated series, mainly the one back in the 80s there that started out with the Mass Device in 83, followed by the Revenge of Cobra, and then eventually G.I. Joe, the main series. Um, and penning the screenplay for both 1986's Transformers the movie, which we, of course, talked about the other day, and 1987's G.I. Joe the movie. Friedman's extensive Hollywood writing career stretches all the way back to 1965's My Favorite Martian and includes such credits as Gilligan's Island. I wonder, I guess that would be the live action version, not the Filmation cartoon version, and includes such credits as Gilligan's Island, Dukes of Hazzard, Wonder Woman, 1976, and Marvel's 1994 Iron Man and Fantastic Four animated outings. Unfortunately for Friedman, at some point in recent years, he found himself diagnosed with prostate cancer, and it was in light of both this unfortunate condition and his wife's own failing health that he turned to the public for help. In launching a GoFundMe for Friedman, his friend and campaign administrator Jared Egel explained, quote, Ron and Val, his wife of 51 years, need help. Ill health and the mounting bills that follow mean they need to move urgently to a less expensive rental near the hospital, on which they both rely for their care. Unquote. But we are seeking funds that will go directly to Ron and Val to pay for their move and cover their rent, bills, and living expenses for a few months, so that they can focus on their ongoing treatment and recovery. Unquote. He detailed, quote, the $48,000 we are seeking breaks down into $28,000 for their medical bills, and the balance that would cover cost of relocation, rent, and living expenses for a few months. We would be so grateful if you would consider helping. Unquote. Providing further context to the campaign's necessity, Ego explained, quote, now Ron no longer teaches and writes only because he wants to, but because he wants to, but because he has to pay for his prostate cancer and chronic pain treatments, as well as basic living expenses, no longer covered by his WGA pension. Brackets at present, the circumstances behind Friedman's loss of pension coverage has not been publicly detailed. Val has been in poor health for a number of years, limiting her ability to work and contribute. Unquote. Quote, Ron has given so much joy and entertainment, wisdom and thrills to generations of film and TV fans, unquote, he added. Quote, please consider helping Ron and Val in this difficult period of their lives. Unquote. Yeah, I mean, considering that that uh, that the series, I mean, considering his career goes all the way back to 1965, that's almost 60 years ago, right there. So I guess Ron and his wife are up there in years. Yeah. All right. Anyway, as of writing, roughly 2 weeks out from its opening, and with approximately the campaign has raised $9,507 of its 48,000. So not even yet a quarter of it. Total goal across 169 donations. Should fans wish to make a donation of their own, they can head over to the GoFundMe page itself and directly um, contribute to the campaign. So yeah, I think let me just do that real quick here. All right, so we just kind of went over there for At least I can do here is at least share this if you guys want to. If if you remember his work and you want to help out, here is the. So if you guys want to help do your part to help out there's the link if you guys want to check that out and help out help Ron and his wife out. In his time of need if you guys feel the urge to do that. Anyways, continuing on with the article here. And that's it for that article. So, and if you guys want to get help Ron and his wife out there, feel free to go over to the GoFundMe and make a donation if you wish to. Well, with that, now 42 minutes. I think it's a good time to start. Maybe getting ready to wind down here. Of course, we'll move on to the wrestling wrap up now. As of course, we do have some news from WWE from last night. Of course, as you know, anyways, so all right, so on last night's Monday Night Raw, of course, as we will first head off there, as WWE is continuing to mark its way towards make its way towards in a qualifying match for the number one contender tendership for the tag team title scramble. DIY defeated the Creed brothers. Awesome Truth defeated Inda Sheer, and the New Day defeated Alpha Academy to secure for them to secure their their spots in the number one contendership for the tag team scramble coming up at WrestleMania. Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell in a tag team match would defeat Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, former women's tag team champions there. Ricochet defeated Dominic Mysterio, rather. And in the main event, in the last woman standing match, Becky Lynch, again in preparation for her match against Rhea Ripley for the women's world title, defeated Nia Jax. So that's all we got for you there. Now, in some other news, of course, in regards to AEW news, apparently Tony Khan is still upset with Jack Perry over losing CM Punk to the WWE. So Jack Perry has not been used in AEW for basically for the last 7 or 8 months due to an incident he had with CM Punk before of course CM Punk left. And yeah, I'm going to turn on some music for a quick moment here because I do need to we are at sunset here, so I'm going to turn on some music. I'm going to go off camera for a moment. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So, anyways, so Tony, so you haven't. That's why you haven't seen Jack Perry, of course, the son of Luke Perry and a professional wrestler in his own right here. In AEW in the last few months. Now, of course, back I believe it was in January, he did show up at in New Japan. He's been wrestling in New Japan this year, a part of Dick Togo's House of Torture faction. So he's been teaming up and basically wrestling over in New Japan, over this month here, over the past couple months here. As they battled such factions as Just Five Guys, Chaos, Bullet Club, you name it. So, well, anyways, so with that, that's all I got for you in terms of, hello, Rebellious Pastry. Welcome to the stream. If you can, of course, like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, albeit we're almost done with the show, unfortunately. But you can always go back and rewatch it. But now with that, as I said, we're coming down to the end of the show here. So right now we're about to, we just finished with the wrestling wrap-up. Actually, there is one more thing I guess I can talk about here before we go out, and that's the fact that tomorrow night is AEW's Dynamite event, which is, I know it's coming from Toronto, Canada, tomorrow night. So tomorrow's Dynamite will be coming from the Coca-Cola Coliseum in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. You will see in a women's tag team match, AEW Women's World Champion Toni Storm teams with Mariah May to take on Deonna Purrazzo and former AEW Women's Champion Thunder Rosa. In a non-title match, FTW Champion Hook takes on Chris Jericho. For the AEW Continental title, Eddie Kingston will be taking on Kazuchika Okada, newly signed All Elite star, part of the new Elite, as it were. In the main event, we'll see in an I Quit match, Christian Cage defends the TNT title against Adam Copeland. So that's what we have for you there. So with that now of course we're going to go ahead and start to wind things down here, as I said, with today being Tuesday, March 19th, 2024. Let's take a look back at this day in Neat's history. History! Okay, so starting off, I'd like to wish a happy 40th birthday to Jimmy Havoc. Jimmy Havoc, who is a British professional wrestler who is known here in the States for his brief time in AEW during their early days. but is known throughout throughout Europe as being part of the European, the British European, um, British and European, you know, wrestling scene. He's had stops in Total Nonstop Action, Impact, World Wrestling Entertainment as well. Known by many for his time in AEW in their early days. But happy 40th birthday to Jimmy Havoc. All right, so moving on to 1994. On this date in 1994, the Toei Animation Sailor Moon S would premiere on Japanese television on this date back in 1994. Toei Animation's Sailor Moon S would premiere on Japanese television on this date back in 1994, 30 years ago today. This is, of course, a series that introduced fans to the characters, sailors, Neptune and Uranus. On this date, 30 years ago today, Toei Animation's Sailor Moon S premiered on Japanese television. And moving ahead to 1999, which was 25 years ago today. On this date, 25 years ago today, produced by Morgan Creek Entertainment, animated adaptation of The King and I, an animated musical film adaptation directed by Richard Rich, produced by Morgan Creek Entertainment, and distributed by Warner Brothers. It was loosely based off of the Rodgers and Hammerstein 1951 stage musical of the same name. So on this date in 1999, the animated film adaptation of The King and I was released in theaters through Warner Brothers. With that, now moving on to the last piece of niche history, which is moving up to 2014. On this date, 10 years ago today, 2014, the 20th issue of Classic Popeye from IDW went on sale on newsstands on this date back in 2014. So 10 years ago today, 20th issue of Classic Popeye from IDW went on sale on newsstands on this date back 10 years ago. Sold for $3.99. It was 32 pages. So with that, I thank everybody for being here. No Yul Brenner? No, I don't think so. Not this time. Haven't been any. But with that, guys, I thank you all for being here tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Also, as I said, if you guys feel up to it, if you guys want to go check out that GoFundMe link that I just put up earlier to help, of course, help Ron Friedman, who was the writer for a number of series, from the 60s, well into the 80s. Also the writer for the Transformers the movie, G.I. Joe the movie. You guys want to go check that out? Maybe decide for yourselves if you want to help out there, if you can. With that, I thank you guys for being here tonight. Well, you're welcome, Captain Finity, and I'm glad you decided to pop in to say hi. So now we'll be back, of course, tomorrow with more Niche News. Niche News coverage. Also, don't forget this Friday I'll have Apex from Apex Comics on with me. as we'll be continuing our look back to February 1940. We're looking at books that went on sale from Archie Comics, known then as MLJ Enterprises. So with that, I thank y'all for being here, and I hope to see y'all back here tomorrow. Bye!